The rain had just stopped, leaving the city streets damp and shimmering under the cold glow of the streetlights. A man walked briskly, his jacket clutched around his daughter, who slept in his arms. To the world, he looked like just another exhausted parent carrying his child home after a long day. But inside his chest beat the heart of a man who had seen too many battles, both in war and in life. His name was Daniel Carter, a single father, a man fighting against time, poverty, and an unforgiving world, yet never letting go of the one thing that gave his life meaning. His little girl, Emma. Emma was only 9, with wide, innocent eyes and a smile that could melt even the hardest of hearts. She didn't know how much her father had sacrificed for her. She didn't know about the nights he went hungry so she could eat, the times he worked 2 jobs while fighting exhaustion so she could stay in school, or the moments he quietly broke down in the shower so she wouldn't see his tears. To her, he was her hero, and to Daniel, she was his everything. But life has a way of testing even the strongest souls. That night, as Daniel cut through an alley on their way home from a late bus, 3 men stepped out of the shadows. Their laughter was cruel, their eyes sharp with arrogance. They weren't strangers. Daniel recognized them from the factory where he used to work before he was fired unfairly. Men who had mocked him, belittled him, and spread lies until he was thrown out. They stood in his path now, blocking his way, eyes fixed not just on him, but on the small girl in his arms. "Leave her alone." Daniel's voice was low, commanding, filled with a fire that made the night itself seem to hold its breath. He shifted Emma gently behind him, shielding her with his own body. "Friends, before we go deeper, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the strength of good people who never give up, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. It helps us continue sharing stories that touch the heart and inspire hope." The tallest of the 3 men sneered, stepping forward. "Relax, Carter. We just want to talk." But Daniel could see the danger in his eyes. He wasn't about to let anyone hurt Emma. Not now, not ever. His fists tightened. The weight of every struggle, every sleepless night, every humiliation he had endured surged within him like a storm breaking free. The first man lunged. Daniel moved with instinct. The instincts of a man who had once served in the army. Instincts he had buried deep while trying to live a quiet life for Emma. His punch landed with a force that sent the man crashing to the ground. The second grabbed his arm, but Daniel twisted, sending him sprawling into the damp brick wall. The third tried to grab Emma, and for the first time in years, Daniel roared like a lion defending its cub. With one swift move, he tackled the man, pinning him to the pavement. When it was over, the 3 men lay groaning in the alley. Daniel's chest heaved, his hands bloody, but Emma was safe, clinging to him with wide, tear-filled eyes. He whispered softly to her, "I told them, sweetheart. I told them to leave you alone." That moment should have ended there, a father protecting his child. But fate had other plans. Because what Daniel didn't know was that someone had seen everything. From the back seat of a sleek black car parked near the corner, a man in an expensive suit had watched the entire scene unfold. His name was Richard Hale, CEO of one of the biggest companies in the city, and a man who, at first glance, seemed far removed from the struggles of ordinary people. But Richard knew pain, and when he saw Daniel fight for his daughter, something stirred in him. The next morning, Daniel received an unexpected phone call. He had been summoned to an office, the very company run by Richard Hale. Nervous, uncertain, and still nursing bruises from the night before, he went, with Emma holding his hand. When they entered the grand glass building, it felt like stepping into another world. Men in suits glanced at him with suspicion, women whispered, and security eyed him carefully. But Emma, with her small steps and brave smile, gave him strength. In the boardroom, surrounded by executives, Richard Hale stood at the head of the table. His presence was commanding, his voice sharp when he spoke. "Last night," Richard began, "I saw something. I saw a man who stood up when it mattered most, who fought not for pride, not for power, but for love." The room grew quiet. Every executive leaned forward, sensing something unusual in their boss's tone. Then Richard looked directly at Daniel. "But what froze me," Richard continued, his voice dropping to a softer note, "wasn't how you took down 3 men with your bare hands. It was the way you shielded your daughter with everything you had. That is leadership. That is loyalty. That is what this world needs more of. The room was stunned into silence. Executives who had mocked struggling men in the past shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. Some frowned, some looked away, but Richard wasn't finished. He turned to his team and said words that would forever change Daniel's life. If there's no place in this company for a man like Daniel Carter, then there's no place for any of you. The air froze. The executives didn't dare breathe. For a long moment, it felt as though time itself had stopped. And then Richard turned back to Daniel with a rare, genuine smile. "Mr. Carter, I want you to work with me. Not beneath me, with me. A man like you doesn't deserve to be thrown away. He deserves to lead." Daniel's throat tightened. He wasn't a man used to praise, and certainly not in front of a boardroom full of powerful people. He glanced at Emma, who beamed up at him with pride, and felt tears sting his eyes. For the first time in years, he wasn't being treated as a burden. He was being seen for the man he truly was. The days that followed were like stepping into a dream. Daniel was given a position where his voice mattered, his ideas respected. Slowly, he learned to trust this new beginning. Emma thrived too, now able to attend school without the shadow of poverty weighing over them. But Daniel never forgot where he came from, nor the battles he had fought in silence. He carried humility in his heart, never letting success make him forget the hungry nights and desperate prayers that had brought him here. Yet the most powerful change wasn't just in Daniel's life. It was in the people who had witnessed it. Richard's words that day became a story whispered through the company halls. Executives who once looked down on struggling men began to question themselves. Employees who felt invisible began to hope again. And all because one man had stood up and said, "Leave her alone." Friends, if this story has touched your heart, if you believe that love, sacrifice, and courage still matter in this world, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us keep telling stories that matter. And before we end, we have a special request. Please comment below with the words, "Real heroes protect, not boast." If you believe Daniel's courage deserves to be remembered, Daniel Carter's journey wasn't about fists or fights. It was about a father's love, a love so fierce it could take on the world and win. And in the end, that love didn't just save his daughter. It saved him too.